All right, so today is May the 13th. It is 2:09 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm going to quickly review what happened on the day for SPY today, and I want to kind of go over what I saw, if I took any trades, and if I did, which ones were they, and if I didn't, why that is the case. So today we started off with a gap up. Now, if you guys are paying attention to the market over the last few days, the volatility was very down and there was not much volume flowing through the market, especially on SPY. And it was pretty, I would say, a pretty slow week last week. So going into this week, I was expecting the same thing. We do have CPI, I believe, on Wednesday, and I think PPI tomorrow, which will definitely increase the volatility for the coming days. But for now, again, we had a very slow day, in my opinion. And if you look at SPY on separate time frames, for example, the daily is one of them, you can very clearly see that we are in an uptrend on the daily time frame, right? Very clearly, we have a higher high here, lower high, higher high, and then basically today we went ahead and went for another higher high, and it seems to be holding very strong. Now, on the 4-hour time frame as well, I do like to look at the extended hour charts. I do like to see what is happening post-market and pre-market, and I do like to look at this right before the market opens to get an idea of where we're heading first thing in the morning, and then a little bit post-market as well, so I have an idea of where things are going or heading in the post-market session. So if we look at the extended hour chart on the 4-hour time frame as well, you can see that we are pretty sideways. Let me see if I can remove this quickly. Okay, perfect. So you can see here that on the extended hour chart, we are pretty sideways on the 4-hour time frame, but we are technically still in an uptrend. All right, we have a higher high here, we have a lower high right here, but then we have a higher low and a lower low which formed on the Friday, which technically is a sign of a downtrend and a trend change confirmation. But we started off the day very bullish with a significant higher high which broke the previous high, and then we had 3 red candles in a row. This one has not closed yet, but as you can see, it is respectfully maintaining its level above its previous lower low. So provided it does not close below this level down here, this will be what we call a lower high, and then what we could see potentially after this is another higher high. Now that could be upwards of maybe 525, but we'll have to wait and see if we get that kind of move. And I do believe that if we do get that move, PPI and CPI this week will definitely be a huge reason for that, and will definitely provide us with the volatility to get there. So breaking it down on the 1-hour time frame for SPY, we started off the day, like I said, with a pretty significant gap up. Now going into the end of the day on Friday, the 1-hour time frame was in a downtrend. Now, when I'm looking to take a position, whether that be short or long, I do use multiple different time frames, right? So I like to use the 6-hour and the daily time frame for ES. I love using ES to give me an overall idea of where we're going for the day and where we can expect price to go for the short term, but also the long term. I'm a day trader, right? So I take positions that usually last a few hours. Sometimes I'll take a trade overnight and potentially even for a few days, but that's very few and far between. For the most case, I'm taking like trades that last a few hours or maybe overnight. It really just depends on what I see and the setup that is taking place. So I do use the 6-hour time frame and the daily time frame for confirmation on which, whether the sellers or the buyers are in control of the market. If we look at ES on the daily time frame as well as the 6-hour time frame, it's very clear that you can see going into the day today, prior to this red candle, right, we were in an uptrend. We were definitely in an uptrend on the 6-hour time frame. So if I was to get into anything, it would more than likely be a long position or a call. But at 9 a.m., we had this candle close, which was below our previous high. So this was a higher low, right? So definitely what you could have expected is a potential move lower, right? But the buyers are in control of this market, right? So for me, that's counter trend, and I don't want to engage in that. So this is the daily time frame here, and you can very clearly see that on the daily time frame, the buyers are well in control of this market right now, right? We had a beautiful higher high here, a lower high right there, and then we just currently are in the process of making a higher high still. So taking a put just because the 6 hour time frame told me that it was a good idea to take a put doesn't mean I'm going to take it, because the daily time frame is telling me a different story, right? If the daily time frame was in a downtrend and then we saw this setup on the 6 hour, then you know what? I'm probably going to take those puts, but we didn't see that, right? So I didn't take it. Now what's funny though is if you look at the weekly time frame, the weekly time frame is technically in a downtrend. We had a big higher high that formed and then a massive lower low. And right now, currently, this week, we're either going to retest same highs, create a higher low, and then go for a lower low the following week, or go for a higher high. One of three possibilities. So only three things can happen here, right? Either we're going to get a higher low, and then next week we're going to go for a lower low, or we're going to get a retest of same high or a potential higher high. So it really depends on what is going to happen. Now, the price action that we had today on the daily time frame doesn't really tell me too much of what's going on. We're getting a lot of rejection from above and a lot of resistance from above. So potentially what we could see is, we have a higher high here. We could potentially see a lower high formation on the daily, maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. But the 6 hour time frame definitely suggests a minor setback towards the upside in the temporary time frame. But for now, the buyers are definitely in control, and for that reason, I did not engage in this put play. Okay, so going back to SPY, I was looking, like I said, to get into calls. I was looking to get into a long position, but I needed to wait for a good setup. So if we go to the 1 hour time frame, right? If we look at the price action in the 1 hour time frame today, we don't see anything that's good for a setup to go long. Right? We have a higher high, which was good, but then we had a big sell-off. And then instead of, after this green candle closing, getting some continuation, we got nothing. Instead, we got a higher low and a lower low, in the same candle. Okay. And this definitely suggested a potential move lower. So, I didn't see any trades for me to go long here. Now, when I'm day trading, I look at all those time frames and then I use the 15-minute time frame to get a good entry. I want to get a sniper entry, right? So I use the 15-minute time frame to get into a nice entry. Once again, on the daily time frame, the 50-minute time frame, I was looking to go long somewhere around like 9:30 when this green candle closed. So I zoomed into the 50-minute time frame and I did not see anything that told me that it was a good idea to get into longs. Like, we got a nice higher high right here, not a higher high, but a bullish engulfing. But that's irrelevant because the 50-minute time frame is in a very strong downtrend here. We're making consistent lower lows and higher lows, and until it breaks that structure, I'm not interested at all in going long, right? Just because we have a bullish engulfing candle right here, it does not mean it's a good entry to go long, because the right before that we just made a lower low. The trend is still very much towards the downside. The sellers are definitely in control of that. And if you were to get into this, that would be more of like a FOMO trade, not really a logical good position to take, because there's no clear indicator that the downtrend is over. Just because you have a bullish engulfing candle and a little bit of extra volume does not mean that we're going to get continuation. Okay, if, for example, this candle closed above 52132 and gave us a higher high, in that case, things might be a bit different. But it did not do that, so we were not interested. So going back and looking at the day today, I didn't take any trades. I'm very disciplined and very strategic with what I decide to get into. I have a lot of rules and a lot of criteria that if it doesn't match, I'm not interested, right? So there's going to be sometimes days where I don't take a trade. Like last week, there was definitely a few days where I sat there and just watched. I didn't actually do anything. But that's part of the game, right? You're not going to have a good setup every day. You're not going to trade every single day. And if you do, it's probably because you're a scalper and you're using a very low time frame. So obviously in a lower time frame like that, you're going to have way more setups than someone like me who trades on a bigger time frame. But I think the key to this game is definitely being patient, waiting for your setup, and making sure that the setup matches your criteria completely before you decide to enter. Because realistically, if it doesn't, you're just doing yourself a disservice. Why did you spend all that time practicing and back testing and researching just to not follow your rules? You know, what a waste of time that is. You have your rules for a reason. Stick to them, they work. So with that being said, I didn't take any trades today. Like I said, I explained why. If we were going to take a trade, it was going to be a long position or a call play, and there was no entry for me to go long here. The 15-minute time frame and the 1 hour time frame never once gave me a reason to go long, so I just thought it'd be best to sit and watch. But tomorrow, I believe we have PPI, if I'm not mistaken. I believe we have PPI, and PPI is definitely going to bring in some volatility for sure at 5:30. So 5:30 a.m. we have potentially some fireworks. At 7 a.m. we have Jerome Powell speaking, which will be very interesting. And then again on Wednesday, we have CPI. So that'll be very interesting. We should get a lot of volatility tomorrow and Wednesday. So whatever price decides to do, it's definitely going to make a big move, and it's either going to be long or short, and either we're going to capitalize or we're going to lose a lot of money. But obviously, we're going to put ourselves in the best position to make a good trade. So I will keep you guys updated with what plays I decide to take this week. I'm going to make a video immediately after the market, either tomorrow or Wednesday, if I decided to take any trades, so I can show you guys exactly where I entered, where I exited, and why I took that trade and why I exited that trade. And just give you a really good idea of how my strategy kind of works, what I'm looking for, and what I pay attention to while the market is live. So that was just a quick little recap of the day today. Again, no trades, but you know, we did watch the market and we did spectate and see, you know, kind of what the market is intending or planning to do going into these bigger events that we have over the next coming days. It looks like the market, to me, in my opinion, it looks like the market is preparing for something. It's preparing for a big move because the volume has been very low. Yet today, even the last few days, have been very low. And usually when we have very low volume like that, it usually a sign that there's a big move coming. There's a very big move coming ahead of us. And we need to capitalize and be prepared for that and be patient for that, because that is something that you don't want to miss out on, right? So it's all about patience. It's all about waiting for your setup. And it's all about reading the market correctly, right? Price action is king. Understanding what price is doing and where price is going is the number one indicator that exists. And price action is not something that you can just go to the indicator tab, download, and then add to your screen. Price action is something that you have to study, understand, and just know from the top of your head. There's no indicator for that. That's just knowledge. Price action is just knowledge, education, and intelligence, and skill, and experience. That's what price action is. You can't just go and add an indicator for that. It doesn't work that way. You have to really understand price, and the only way you're going to understand price is if you sit here for hours and hours and hours, days and days and days, years and years and years, studying and watching price and what price is doing. This is why I'm such a big believer in find something that you enjoy trading, find something that you understand, and stick with that. Just stick with that one particular security. Don't jump around, don't bounce around and try this, try that, try this, try that. Don't be trading everything. That's just my opinion. What's worked very well for me and what I'm going to continue to do for myself is trading what I know best and what I'm very familiar with, which is SPY. I've been trading SPY for almost 3 years on a regular basis. That's the only thing I trade. That's the only thing I'm going to trade. I understand it. I'm familiar with it. I'm comfortable with it, and that all of that leads to, greater confidence, which allows me to take bigger, better plays. Right? So I suggest you do the same thing. That's the best piece of advice I can give you, in my opinion. It does not have to be SPY, but it could be Tesla. It could be Nvidia. It could be Google. It could be Microsoft. It could be Netflix. It could be QQQ. It could be anything that you like. Find one, stick with it, study it, and just master that particular security and only trade that. That's just my opinion. That's what's worked great for me. And if it's worked great for me, it'll definitely work great for you. 100%. 100%. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed that video. And if we do end up taking some plays over the next couple of days, I will definitely make a video about it and I will share it with you on this channel. You take care and have a great day.